Hi, welcome to the Recovery Daily podcast. I'm your host, Rachel Abassi. I'm a grateful recovering alcoholic and stroke survivor. And welcome back. We did take the day off yesterday. I had my new neurology appointment. And so today, what I wanted to talk about is give you a rundown on what happened at my neurology appointment. And then I want to talk a little bit about, you guessed it, about giving up versus knowing when to say when. So I have not been feeling very well over the past couple of days, and I have taken naps. I've been taking care of myself and eating healthy and all that good stuff. Drinking water, doing some of my healthy habits. My healthy habit, by the way, I never did announce it, that the one I chose was to read every day out of a book. So I have been trying to do that. I didn't read yesterday and I didn't read today out of a book, but I have been doing it. I can't do it if my symptoms are above a 5. So that's what I had chosen. But of course, on the side, I'm also drinking more water. And what else? I can't remember what else we had options for, but I think there's several of them that I do. Okay. So first, I'm just gonna, I guess, briefly tell you what happened at the neurologist. So this neurologist is a headache specialist. And yesterday morning, this is kind of bizarre, but yesterday morning, after having waited for a few months for this appointment, I got a phone call in the morning before the appointment. And the phone call was from the front desk, the receptionist of the neurology office. And she said, I see that you are coming in for migraines and a stroke. Just so you know, we don't handle strokes. And I was kind of set aback by that. And I'll go into it more, but I said, okay, well, I have migraines, so that's what I'm coming to see you for. And she's like, okay, I just wanted to let you know to make sure that, you weren't wasting your time. And I'm thinking, I hung up the phone. I said, fine, I'll see you at 11:15. I hung up the phone and I was just like, I was like sitting here in shock. I think my jaw dropped because I was like, why would you call me today and tell me this? Like, why wouldn't you have told me that 3 months ago when I scheduled this? Um, so I started off frustrated from the get-go in the morning. That's exactly what I wanted to hear bright and early in the morning before I've been waiting for this appointment for months. So we end up going to the appointment. We end up waiting. I didn't actually see her till 55 minutes after my appointment scheduled time. That was also frustrating. She walked in and she was awesome. She was awesome. And she spent, I think it ended up being an hour and 20 minutes with me or something like that. She sat with me from 12:10 to 1:30. Can you believe that? I mean, that is unheard of. And she just sat and talked to me. I think our appointment was scheduled for an hour, so that's also unheard of. But she actually sat with me for that long. So that made up for me. That made up for her being almost an hour late seeing me. So she asked me. I came prepared with to be able to answer any questions that she had. And that's really what it was. I didn't have to, she wasn't like, okay, tell me what happened. You know, some places you go in and that's what they say. All right, so what's going on with you? And you're like, okay, well, when I was 5 years old, you know. So she just started asking me questions. Now, the fact that they called me and said, we don't do strokes was like, does that mean, because all of this is because of a stroke, does that mean that anytime I say the word stroke, she's going to be like, oh, no, 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 I don't do that. You know what I mean? Like there's people that you work with at work and they're like, no, you're going to have to call IT or no, that's not my department. That's what I felt like she was going to say. She wasn't like that. So, I had brought my trapper keeper. Literally, did I show you guys my trapper keeper? Hold on. This is my trapper keeper that I bought. It is a straight up 1980s trapper keeper. And that's where I keep all of my documents. So I have all of my medical records inside that trapper keeper, and I take it to all of my appointments because there's nothing worse than getting in there and they're like, okay, well, if I had this, if I had that, you know, why don't you send it to me and then we'll schedule another appointment or something like that. And I'm like, that's not happening for me. So I have all of my records and I carry them with me. And I would recommend that for anybody who's in recovery. I would recommend doing the same thing. I know it's an overachiever thing, but it works for me. I have all of my MRIs on CDs and everything. So I was able to give all of that to her, which was great because it so happened that all the doctors that I had asked to have my records sent to her didn't do it. So that's one of the struggles of recovery is you're really relying on the front desk people, the receptionist, whatever they're called these days. I don't know what's politically correct, but you're relying on those people to, with your life and for them to get all of the paperwork done. And I have really, really struggled with having that happen. Um, so I had it all with me. And so I gave them my MRI CDs, which they still have and are going to upload them into their system, which is like the MedStar Health, I think it's what it's called, system. And yeah, MedStar uh, Georgetown University Hospital. So they're going to upload it into the system. So now anybody that I go to in their system is going to have all of my MRIs. There's also an MRI that I got done when I had my stroke at Reston Hospital, and I've got to figure out how to get that CD. I'm not quite sure how to get that, and I hope they still have it after 3 years. The doctor said usually they keep records for 7 years, so that's what we're gonna do. And you know what? I'm totally gonna write that down in the middle of the podcast because I need to make sure that I do that tomorrow. So let's write it down together. MRI Reston from 2021 June. Okay, sorry for the interruption, but I need to make sure I do that tomorrow. This is life. This is life with me. Okay, so she talked to me about even some appointments. I didn't remember this clearly, and I still don't remember it clearly, but in 2019, I think my sister remembers this. Hi, Sissy. That I went to the doctor for double vision in 2019. And I had ocular migraines when I was still drinking. So that was before 2016. So this headache doctor thought that it was a little concerning that I went to the doctor for double vision in 2019. I think I even got an MRI. I'm not sure. Man, I've had so many MRIs. That's not good for your body, I hear. So Anyway, so she wants me, after we were talking about this beginning stuff about my medical history, and I talked about the mini strokes in my cerebellum, and I've talked to you guys about that, about why do I have vestibular and vision issues when I had my stroke in my upper left hemisphere? That's not where your vision and your vestibular system is controlled. It is back in the back. And so she really was listening, which is what I wanted. She didn't discount it, which is what I had been facing with my other neurologist. So that's super positive. And so she recommended that I go see a stroke specialist neurologist. Did I know that there was one in the past 3 years? No, I didn't know there was a stroke specialist neurologist. Somebody could have told me that. This is the frustrating part of you don't know until you know. Just like I didn't know anything about vestibular disorders. I didn't know anything about vision challenges with vestibular disorders. I haven't had somebody, an advocate other than myself and my husband, really, that have been doing this. It's been me, to be honest, doing the research to progress my investigation. And it should not be that way. I mean, it's just disgraceful that I have not had a doctor that has been knowledgeable enough about strokes to lead me where I need to go. It's just astounding that so many people have strokes, and if everybody's getting the half-assed care that I've been getting, and now I'm not talking about the individual doctors. Like, I went to an amazing doctor yesterday, and the ENT that I went to is an amazing ENT. But it's not, no single doctor seems to know enough holistically to guide my case. So that's what I'm going to go to the stroke specialist neurologist for. So I've already made an appointment because I'm an overachiever, and that appointment is in August, and it's in Washington, D.C., which I've been able to avoid Washington, D.C. up until now. So I'm going to be going to that. Now, she also said, because of the vestibular symptoms that I have, that I really need to see a neuro-otologist. I already knew that. And I knew that because of my own research, that was where I needed to go. But when I tried to make an appointment with a neuro-otologist, they said, no, you can't go to this neuro-otologist without having an order from an ENT, which is why I had to go to the ENT. So I went to the ENT, and the ENT said, if you go to the neuro-otologist, he's not going to do anything different than what I'm telling you. So there's no need to go. When I talked to this headache specialist yesterday, she said, no, there is an extended version or an extended series of tests for your vestibular system. I don't know. I'm just gonna go. But this VNG or ENG test that I'm supposed to take on July 11th, which is next week, that my ENT, sorry, so many acronyms, that the ear, nose, and throat doctor was hesitant to have me do because it might trigger my symptoms really badly. I'm going to cancel that. And the reason why is because it will trigger my symptoms and it's going to be terrible. I know that for sure because I've heard what they've said that what they do. You're like you have these glasses on and things are moving and they have cameras on your eyes to watch your eyes move. And I can't see things move. For example, yesterday at the migraine at the headache specialist. um, sorry, lots of talking. At the headache specialist, she did all of the normal tests. After we had our conversations about going to a stroke specialist and a neuro-otologist, she started to do the testing of me in the office. And it's really, she was testing, it's the same stuff I've been tested for a million times after you have a stroke. It's like, does everything move the same way on both sides of your body? Does everything feel the same way? Like, can I feel things the same way on both sides of my body? And then they do the dreaded watch my finger move test. And what they don't realize is when I tell them, I could tell them until I'm blue in the face that I can't watch movement, and they do it anyway. She says, watch my finger. And I'm going to close my eyes because I don't want to see all this movement. She goes like this, that fast. For those of you who aren't watching the camera, she's moving it around like she's, just drawing an H in the air very quickly. And as soon as she started moving her finger, I said, slow down, because I can't handle that. But before she finished the H, I started crying because it's that bothersome to me. I cannot watch movement. I don't know how to tell these people that I cannot handle a finger that moves like that and moving my eyes around. I just can't do it. So anyway, I started crying. We had to stop everything. She apologized. You know, it's what I've been dealing with, and that's why I get really frustrated that every time I go to a doctor, okay, every time I go to a doctor, I get referred to two more doctors every time. So I go to the headache specialist. Now I need to go to a stroke specialist and a neuro-otologist, right? When I went to my other neurologist, I needed to go to a neuropsychiatrist and a neuro-ophthalmologist. It's like I'm building a tree of doctors on Team Rachel. That's fine if if it was getting me somewhere, but it's not. I go to these doctors, they say they don't know what's wrong with me, and then I have to recover for a week. My symptoms heighten for a week. I'm sleeping, I'm miserable. Um, and I don't have anything to show for it. The headache doctor recommended that I start Botox. Um, I know Botox is a big thing these days, and I've talked to many a migraine sufferer who has said that they do Botox and it's changed their life. And I get that. I get it. My problem is without even addressing the Botox thing, my thoughts about Botox. My problem is addressing the symptoms without addressing the cause, without knowing what's wrong with me. So what has happened so far in my recovery is they gave me Emgality to fight my migraines. And so now the sharp pains are gone, but I still suffer from dizziness, and the dizziness has actually increased when the pain in my head has decreased. So yes, it's not as painful as it was, but it's just as debilitating. I cannot, I can't, opening my eyes either with head pain or with dizziness is still, I can't do anything. I can't go for a long walk, whether I have dizziness or I have head pain, Um, when I had my head pain, it would subside when I closed my eyes, I think is what I remember. And my dizziness does the same thing when I close my eyes. So it's just a different symptom for the same problem. And this is why I feel like Botox is not going to address it. I'm concerned that Botox is not going to address it. If you recall, when I started going to vestibular therapy, and the vestibular therapist, whom I adore, let me just tell you, if you ever need a vestibular therapist, ping me on email, rachel@recoverydailypodcast.com, because she's phenomenal. Anyway, I still, she said, I want you to trust me. I want you to keep coming back. Well, I know how to do that because I'm an AA, and that's what we do. There's nothing else. We keep coming back. So I knew how to do that. And so my husband and I were looking and saw that I have been going for 12 weeks, which is what the recommended um, series of vestibular therapy she said that I would need. I think that I think there's been 2 weeks in there that we haven't been able to, like I had a conflict or something like that. No, I think it was only 1 week. I think it was last week was the only whole week I haven't gone. And I'm still feeling what I'm feeling. Now I can manage my symptoms better, but I still have symptoms. I still have just as bad symptoms. It's just, I know when to stop doing what I'm doing if it's triggering my symptoms. So I'm going to go there tomorrow and I'm going to ask, what's the plan? Like we're at this point now. Do we keep going? Because I'm starting to feel like the discomfort that I deal with after therapy is not worth the lack of progress that I'm seeing. So that's what I'm facing right now. I'm going to talk about it with an open mind with her and see what she recommends. One of the things that I've encountered as well, and I hope that this is beneficial for anybody else who's going through these types of navigating recovery. I mean, it is complex and it's challenging to make these decisions for your own health and know what's right for you and what's not right for you. And it's different for everybody. And I own that. I own what is going to be good for my recovery and what is not. And so I'm going to approach it with an open mind. I'm, what I have encountered in the past is a doctor or therapist, mind you, no matter who it is, no matter what, line of therapy, whether it's talk therapy, physical therapy, vestibular therapy, chiropractor, they'll have a reason for you to come back. They will. They'll have a reason to have another 3-month plan. They'll have a reason to, say, let's try this. And then we'll check again after 3 months. And it's up to me to say, do I want to try this? or do I want to start living? You know, do I want to just, and I don't want to say just, do I want to accept where I'm at in my recovery with my symptoms and take a break from all of this therapy and see what just resting can do for me? Because I saw a lot of progress when I was resting and doing, you know, taking a 2 to 3 hour, sometimes 4 hour nap in the afternoon. That's where I saw the most progress. But I did start doing too much during the times that I was awake. And now that I'm educated through vestibular therapy, I know when to say when, as far as activities throughout the day go. So I'm going to talk to her about that. I have a stroke specialist to see in August, and I have a neuro-otologist to see in September. So that's where I'm at. And so I want to talk about what is the difference between giving up if I were to, so let's just talk about therapy, because I'm still going to see these doctors that I was referred to, and I'm going to see what they say. The stroke specialist, of course, is 3 years too late. I shouldn't say too late. 3 years, yeah, I guess too late. But I'm still going to go and see what's going on and if there is some sort of correlation, possible correlation to my my double vision incident in 2019 and my mini strokes and all that stuff, and see maybe they'll get an idea of what's actually going on in that wild little head of mine. But so I want to talk about vestibular therapy in this way. Every doctor I go to, I've mentioned, refers me to 2 more doctors. They refer me to new tests that I need to go to. And so it's up to me to decide when I need to say when. And how do you know that? I'm not going to give you the answer to that question in this episode because it's going to be different for everybody. How do you know when? I think what's important and what I want to try to convey to you in this episode is that you have permission to say when. You know, you have the right to protect your well-being. You have the right to look inward and think, is this still good for me, or is it starting to not be good for me? So I talked to my psychiatrist about all of this today, and we talked about how I own that decision. And for so many people, I think we feel like the doctors own that decision. And I think over the past 3 years, I've been trying to get the doctors to make that decision for me. I've been trying to get them to tell me what's wrong with me. I've been trying to get some guidance on where I need to go to get better. And nobody's ever going to tell me you're not going to get better. As I have met lots of people in stroke recovery, the fight is always never give up. Um, don't don't say I'm not going to get better, because there's always a chance you'll continue to improve. Um, I agree with that. I agree with that. Some of the improvement is going to be slow. Some of all of it typically is uncomfortable. Some of it is painful. Um, but it's always going to take work to get better. It's going to get worse before it gets better. So I think for me, the progress that I'm making versus the work, the hard work and the pain, is it worth it or not? You know, am I making an improvement enough to make it worth continuing to go? And just because if I were to say when, which I have not said when, I'm just saying uh, that it's something to consider. And when I say when, it doesn't mean I can't keep keep doing my own home therapy. There's a gentleman that I talked to who had a stroke and also has a vestibular disorder. And he went to therapy for a long time, and now he does therapy at home. He admitted to me that he doesn't do therapy as much as he's been recommended to do it, but he does it enough to the point where it's comfortable for him. And I think that's where we all have to get to. Where's the place where you can be comfortable in your life? And I'm telling you right now, where I'm at with going to this vestibular therapy and going to all these doctors, I'm not at a place where I'm comfortable existing. I can't continue to exist in this way. I need to change something. And if I don't change something, my mental health is going to decline. And that is very valuable to my well-being. So my psychiatrist asked me, how will life change for you if you were to stop going to vestibular therapy? Like, why are you looking forward to stopping if you were to say when? And I said, I would have less bad days. That's it. And that's enough. You know, that's enough to have less bad days. Um, it's not that I don't see the value in vestibular therapy. I feel much better educated about my condition. I feel capable of managing my symptoms because of the therapy that I went to. Um, I feel like at this point I'm going once a week, and the thing that we're doing now in therapy is really difficult, and I'm laid out for like 2 days, sometimes 3. It just heightens my dizziness for the next several days. And all I'm doing, and I don't mean to discount this by saying all I'm doing, because it's a lot for me personally. What I'm doing is the cards all laid out on a table with the alphabet on each card, like one letter of the alphabet on each card. And I have to find the letters in alphabetical order and pull them and put them in a pile. The hard part of all of that is searching for the letter. That's it. That is one of my most difficult activities I can do, is look for something. A disgusting example for you is when my dog goes poo-poo in the grass. If I don't, if I happen to turn away, or like, oh, I don't have a poo-poo bag, I got to go back home and get a bag, and then go back to pick up the poo-poo, which I do. Yes, I'm a thoughtful pet owner. I have a really difficult time searching for the poop. And now I know you're probably saying, well, so do I. Everybody has a hard time finding the poop. I don't mean that. What I mean is it triggers my symptoms and makes me feel nauseous, and my head starts hurting and I feel dizzy. Those are the three things that happen if I'm looking for poo-poo in the grass. So if I'm looking for, we have this beautiful spices layout. So they're in these magnet containers, and they're on the side of the refrigerator, and they're all in alphabetical order. And there's probably, gosh, 50 of them, something like that. It's wild. So, looking for the spice, even though they're in alphabetical order, I still have to, if I go to the peas, I have to look at it until find paprika. And what I've learned in therapy is not to scan, is to look at each one, let my eyes focus on it, and then really make a decision that's not paprika, and move my eyes to the next one and let my eyes focus and say yes or no, is that paprika? And the reason why is because that I have to kind of slow it down and make a decision while I'm doing it is because it slows down my eyes. And that's actually the hard part. There is an additional short in my brain also, where when I'm looking at the word paprika, it takes me a minute to realize it's paprika, to realize it's what I'm looking for, if that makes any sense. So what's my point? Scanning is really difficult for me. So I see the value in going in there every week and talking to her. It's like getting a consultation every week. It's like she's giving me the tools and techniques to manage my symptoms. So she's the reason why I know to focus in on each thing and then move to the next one. And that's what I'm learning with the alphabet letters on cards. I do feel more educated about my condition. I feel like I can do things in a more structured way. I'm giving more, what's the word? Like what I had been doing, which is what I just did a few minutes ago, is discount things. Like, well, I'm just looking at cards. I need to not dismiss the fact that that is a really difficult activity for me. So giving more importance and weight to the activities that are stressful and exhausting for me, even though they are things that somebody else would be able to do really easily. Things that I used to be able to do before my stroke that were just nothing. I mean, you wouldn't even, it's stuff that you don't even have to think about. Now I have to think about it. And what therapy has given me is the courage. It's really is the word, the courage to say, yeah, this is hard for me. I'm not stupid, because that's what it feels like. When I can't do things that I used to be able to do, I don't look any different because of my stroke, but I feel stupid when I can't look at something and process it the same way that I used to. I was looking at my neuropsychiatric evaluation yesterday before my appointment at the headache specialist, and I saw the little paragraph. I went to the end where it says what my condition is and what my diagnosis was. And it wouldn't be bad if I looked at that every now and then and reminded myself that I'm not stupid and that my stroke caused me to process things slower. So I think that's a really important thing that that I wish I could shout from the rooftops, because I know that I'm not unique and that many, many, many stroke survivors feel that way. Um, what I've heard is a lot of stroke survivors that have aphasia suffer from that feeling of coming across to people like they are challenged, that they're stupid because they can't form words the way that they used to. And they're not stupid. The stroke broke stuff that connects the brain and the language language maker. I make up words here. So um anyway, it's interesting to be in the position. I wish before I had the stroke that I would have had as much respect then for stroke survivors as I do now. And I hope that through talking about this kind of stuff on my podcast, that maybe people will run across this and say, oh, that makes sense. I'm going to treat stroke survivors with a little more love and caring. Um, so I've been persistent. If nothing else, I have been persistent and consistent. And I think that that has been really helpful for my recovery, in that I have pushed myself to recover at a pace that who knows where I'd be if I hadn't have been pushing through all of this. And I think that when I talk to the disability companies that I have to talk to, sorry, that I get to talk to, they are impressed by how far I have gone, to the extents that I've gone to for medical care. It seems like not everybody does that. And you guys know that I am someone who pushes the line. I mean, I'm an overachiever. That's what I am. I'm not saying that I'm better than everybody. I just try I try really hard. Things. Is that the way to say it? I don't know. But I often don't know when it's time to stop. And I know how to push through tough times, but I think it's equally important to know when to say, I've had enough. It's equally important for me to know when I've reached the other side of the peak of effectiveness of my therapy or treatments. It's important to know when it's time to shift my life towards living and enjoying and having quality life. I've been thinking a lot over the past 2 days, particularly today, because I talked to my psychiatrist, that my stroke was not my fault. And I've said that before. I had a whole episode on that. And I need to remind myself, and I told her this today, that I deserve to be happy. I deserve to get to enjoy my life. I deserve to get to accept what's going on in my life and make the best of what I have. And I think I'm just getting to the point that I can accept this now. I can accept that this is my life. This is what I've been given, and I can make the best of this. I can make this great still. So some things that I've been thinking about in order to like evaluate my progress and decide when to say when is, have my symptoms significantly improved since therapy? And I've covered that with you. I don't think that they have significantly improved the symptoms themselves. I just think that I know what to do with them now. I feel more capable of managing them, of managing my condition. The other thing is therapy adding stress to my life? Is it adding more stress than it is relief? And I'm going to say at this point, it's adding more stress than it is relief. And that's not okay. It's okay in the beginning when someone says, can you promise me you won't give up? You're going to keep coming back. You're going to try. Well, 12 weeks later, it's okay to say, I was stressed before because I had hope for relief. Now I'm stressed and I'm not seeing relief. I'm not seeing the relief that I wanted, that's worth it, that makes it worth it. And I'm just tired. I'm getting tired, right? So while I don't feel like my symptoms has significantly improved, I feel like I have the tools, I have the exercises that she gave me to continue maintaining. I know what exercises, it's just like going to the gym where you want to keep your strength up. I have those exercises that will allow me to keep my strength up, keep my visual strength up. It's important that I move my eyes around, because if I don't move my eyes a lot, I'm not stretching the muscles. And that's what happened to me at the beginning of therapy. Was I was looking down and in one spot so much that it hurt to look up. I actually had in my eyes, the muscles in my eyes had not been stretched in that direction, which is fascinating. But so I know today that I need to practice looking left, looking right for a minute, looking up and down for a minute, and really warming up my muscles in my eyes. So, I think it's important. Again, I'm not saying that I'm stopping, but I'm saying I'm getting pretty darn close, and I'm going to have an open and honest conversation with my vestibular therapist about my feelings. I'm going to discuss with her my progress, my concerns, my desire to maybe take a break or stop therapy. And she'll give me her professional perspective, and then I will take that home with me and weigh the pros and the cons and see, is it time to take a break? Because I know that my insurance company pays for like 60 sessions, and I don't know if I've been going for 3 months, that would be 12 weeks. So 12 times 2 is 24. So I'm not even close to hitting the maximum for insurance. It's possible that she may say, why don't we take a break and we'll pick up again, in a while or something like that. I don't know what she's going to say, but it's certainly time for me to have the chat with her. And I feel good. I feel good about making that decision. Sometimes it's making the decision that something needs to change that makes the difference in our mental state. It really is. And you know what that reminds me of, you people that are in sobriety, is when we make the decision that something needs to change, right? Um, I tell you, I say it over and over again, that when I learned about I need to practice the principles of AA in all of my affairs, I had no idea what that really meant. I had no idea the weight that that was going to carry on my ability to navigate my life, even in this situation, in stroke recovery. My recovery has been constantly about seeking balance. And when I finally knew what serenity felt like because of my sobriety program, I have been in pursuit of that and maintaining that ever since. And it's been quite a few years since I first knew serenity. So I feel strong. My decision maker feels strong. I feel spiritually strong. I feel really grateful that I have the wherewithal to know that it's time to reevaluate what my quality of life looks like and to what level I want to pursue treatments. There is another factor that's involved, and I don't want to ignore that, and that is what is required of me in order to follow what is necessary for disability. How much do I need to do therapy in order to qualify for disability? I don't know the answer to that. I'm sure it matters whether therapy is doing anything for me or not. I know that is definitely a factor. I think that's a factor for insurance and disability. They don't why keep going if it's not doing anything? Why is everybody paying for me to suffer, right? So sometimes the best things we can do for ourselves is to rest. And that's what I'm leaning towards, is it's time for me to rest and focus on living my life with the tools that I've gained from all of this work in recovery. I want to be able to have more good days. And I want to practice living with my disability. And I can't do that if I'm constantly in an up and down state with my disability, with my symptoms. So that's where I'm at today. And I think this was a good episode. I hope I can get a good title for the episode that will convey this idea about giving up on, not giving up versus knowing when to say when and start prioritizing your overall quality of life. So we'll see. I always name it after I'm done recording, so we'll see what happens. You guys know before I do what the name of the episode is. That's weird. Isn't that weird? Okay. Thank you for joining me today on the Recovery Daily podcast. I hope this was valuable for you. It was absolutely valuable for me. And so don't forget to click like and subscribe, and I will talk to you tomorrow.